Have you seen the latest Social Security update? The 2026 COLA estimate has just been revised, and while the difference is a mere 0.1%, don't let that number fool you. In real life, that tiny uptick could mean deciding whether to refill a prescription, buy fresh groceries, or keep the lights on. That's how tight the margins are for millions of Americans relying on a fixed income. So, welcome, friends. Whether you're returning or just stumbled across this space, I'm truly glad you're here. Because today's update isn't just about money. It's about reality, it's about fairness, and it's about survival. Let's break it down. This month, the estimated cost of living adjustment, commonly known as COLA, for 2026 ticked up from 2.3% to 2.4%. Sure, that may not sound like a dramatic change, but let's put it into perspective. For someone receiving the average $2,000 monthly benefit, a 2.4% bump means about $48 more per month. That's it. $48. In a world where eggs can cost $7 and rent can jump $200 overnight, it's a number that can feel frustratingly symbolic rather than truly helpful. But this conversation is about so much more than percentages. It's about the weight those numbers carry. Because behind every dollar are real people making hard choices. In the comments from our last video, so many of you opened up about what this system really feels like. One comment, in particular, hit like a punch to the gut. We don't eat meals anymore. We eat soup. That wasn't just a comment, it was a window into a life where even basic nutrition becomes a luxury. Others described the adjustment as crumbs for the peasants, or dismissed it flatly as a scam. And while those words may sound sharp, they're born from the very real pain of living paycheck to paycheck on a check that doesn't stretch like it used to. So, why is the COLA increase so small this year? A big reason is inflation, specifically how it's measured. The government uses the Consumer Price Index for urban wage earners and clerical workers, or CPI-W, to calculate COLA. That index is based on the spending habits of younger urban workers, not older adults, not retirees, and definitely not seniors dealing with the astronomical costs of healthcare, prescription drugs, and housing. And here's the rub. Seniors don't spend like 30-year-old city workers. Older Americans spend significantly more on essentials, like healthcare, medical equipment, housing, and utilities. Yet, these cost categories are underrepresented in the CPI-W formula. That means every year, Social Security recipients may be getting adjustments that don't truly reflect their financial reality. There's actually a better metric out there, CPI-E, the Consumer Price Index for the elderly. It's been proposed for years as a more accurate way to calculate COLA, but despite bipartisan interest and widespread support among seniors advocates, it still hasn't become the standard. And let's talk about the real costs. According to recent surveys, about 20% of seniors are spending over $1,000 a month just on health care. Over half are living on less than $2,000 a month, total, and nearly 40% rely on Social Security alone. That means there's no backup plan, no savings cushion, no other source of relief. So when rent goes up or medication prices rise, there's no safety net, just hard choices and heartbreak. Many of you also mentioned Medicare, and the stories were gut-wrenching. One person said they're paying nearly $185 every month for coverage. They either don't use or simply can't afford. Someone else confessed they haven't seen a doctor in years, but they're still paying into Medicare every month. That's not just frustrating, it's heartbreaking. Paying for care that you can't afford to access is one of the cruelest contradictions in our system. Now, there's been some recent movement that could lead to relief, at least on the prescription drug front. A new executive order aims to align U.S. drug prices with what pharmaceutical companies charge in other developed nations. If companies don't comply within 30 days, the government could intervene to enforce pricing standards. The order also allows for the import of lower-priced international medications and direct-to-consumer sales at those more affordable global rates. But before you celebrate, a word of caution. Executive orders are not permanent laws. They can face legal challenges, political pushback, or be overturned by future administrations. In short, it's a start, but not yet a finish line. And while we're talking about economic pressures, let's not forget the global stage. A temporary agreement with China eased some tariffs for 90 days, giving brief relief to certain consumer prices. But that deal expires soon, and if tariffs return or new ones are introduced, costs could climb again, and fast. If those hikes hit between July and September, it could influence the final COLA number, which will be officially announced in October. That could be good news, potentially a bigger raise, but the bad news is inflation always hits your wallet before the check adjusts, and that delay is where the real hardship sits. Now, even if COLA does rise more than expected, many of you made a powerful point. It often feels like the system is always one step behind. You get a little more, but it's already eaten up by expenses that increased months earlier. It's like running on a treadmill that keeps speeding up. No matter how fast you move, you're still falling behind. Let's zoom out and look at the broader picture. Social Security itself is under immense strain. The trust fund is projected to begin facing shortfalls within the next decade unless major reforms are enacted. Some lawmakers propose raising the income cap on Social Security taxes so higher earners pay more. Others want to overhaul the COLA calculation entirely to better reflect real-life inflation. But for now, there's no clear plan and no consensus in Washington. Meanwhile, more than 70% of seniors depend on Social Security for at least half of their income. And a whopping 93% of Americans believe that protecting and preserving these benefits should be a national priority. And for those of you feeling overwhelmed by the Medicare maze, let me share something that could genuinely help. There's a service called Chapter. What makes them different? They were founded by people whose own parents were misled into signing up for the wrong plans. So they created a better way. Chapter's advisors are salaried, not paid commissions, so they have no incentive to steer you toward one plan or another. They compare over 24,000 Medicare options, consider your doctors and prescriptions, and help you find the best fit. And here's the kicker. Their help is 100% free. No pressure, no gimmicks, just honest advice. You can call 615-639-1937 or visit askchapter.org/money. It could save you a lot of stress and possibly a lot of money. So now we wait. The final COLA number comes in October, and between now and then, anything can happen. But that doesn't mean we stay quiet. This is the time to keep speaking up. Share your story in the comments. Let us know. Have your expenses risen this month? Have you had to make cuts just to make it through? Are you worried about the future of Social Security? These aren't just numbers. They're your lives. And when you share, it helps shine a light on the reality that too many are living. If this video helped you feel more seen, more informed, or less alone, consider sharing it with someone else who might be in the same boat. Together, we can keep this conversation going and keep the pressure on. I'll be right here with more updates as they unfold. Until then, take care of yourselves and each other.